To start with, as I have mentioned in the book, I was born in Embu in 1949. When I was born, my mother was already the treasurer of the Salvation Army, Kagare Corps. That was a respectable position. My father was polygamous. He had 2 wives. So I grew up in a polygamous family. When I was about 3 years old, that is in 1952, Jomo Kenyatta, among the Kabenguria 6, were arrested for organizing the Mau Mau movement, which was a rebellion against the oppressive colonial government. Thereafter, a state of emergency was declared, where young Kikuyu men, Embu men, Meru men were arrested in order to deny the Mau Mau movement. They were called terrorists, new recruits. My father ran away with a new wife, and my father was left behind. It was terrible. Our homes were torched, they were razed down, and we had to move to the colonial villages. We were also brutalized by the colonial government. But you see, the white people did not physically brutalize the people. They used our fellow Africans to brutalize us. You find as young people, young children, we grew up on UNICEF food, UNICEF milk, that is United Nations International Children's Fund. You know, the powdered milk, it was contaminated because of handling, transportation, and such like. So you see, you find the people who grew during my time used to suffer multiple afflictions simultaneously. The children of my age at that time were suffering from jiggers, lice, worms, skin diseases, hunger, terrorism. In fact, the World Health Organization would be surprised that we are still alive. Because when you suffer all those afflictions during the day, at night, bed bugs are waiting for you. When you go to school, the teachers were very brutal also. It was decided by the colonial government to dehumanize the African person. So that is a kind of a childhood I had. I saw dead bodies strewn all over when going to primary school in Ronyenjes. And you see, that was supposed to be a deterrent to tell us that if you join the terrorist movement, of course, as it was referred to by the colonial government, that is the Mau Mau fighters, this is what will befall you. But there is the flip side. That life handed me. I can survive with very little food. I do not need palaces for me to survive. I do not need expensive cars to survive. I do not need fancy food to survive. I realize that the human body adapts, is very adaptive. You can survive on very little. So there's also a downside to it. It taught me how to be tough, how to be hardy. I'm not a person who is easily frightened because I started seeing death in my childhood. You see, when I was in primary school at the age of 6, 7 years old, because where I was born is within the suburbs of Runyenjes town. So we had a cartel because we considered ourselves as town boys, not rural. We not consider ourselves as rural boys. We considered ourselves as urbanized. And you know, urbanized boys, you know, they are tough because it is not easy to survive in town. So we had a cartel of young boys who used to wash the OTC, that is overseas transport company buses here. And we used to get about 2 shillings, which was a lot of money. And that is the money we used to buy bread to feed our families, our mothers and our siblings. Yes, and it taught me not to be choosy. Yes, it taught me about the work ethic and about the dignity of honest labor. The problem, I don't want to say all of them, but most of them, is that they want to be employed and have a Range Rover, have a helicopter, live in Lavington, in Kileleshwa, afford expensive whiskies, expensive brandies, expensive girlfriends within 5 years. Unless you become a thief, unless you want to be a drug dealer, where you can access money easily, that is not possible. And even that kind of money, that kind of wealth is not enjoyable. It makes you tired. It's very destructive. Because they think if you drink whiskey until 6 a.m. in the morning, the hangover, how do you deal with it? It means you destroy yourself too early. You know, it's like burning your candle from both sides. You destroy yourself very easily. You see, life is enjoyable when you acquire property gradually, not within a day. Can you imagine a football match which lasts only 2 minutes? You see, the flavor of life is in the struggle. If you go to play football and then your opponent has no goalkeeper, then you keep on scoring. What enjoyment is there? What fulfillment is there? Even when you go to watch boxing, you want the game to last 12 rounds. But if there's a knockout within 1 minute, then what were you paying for? Even in the life, the flavor is not in quick success. If the more prolonged, the sweeter it is. So somebody should teach them that life, the flavor is in the struggle. Yeah, not quick attainment of our objectives, and especially using dishonest means. And when you use dishonest means, it means you never have sound sleep. because you fear being caught because of your dishonesty. And of course, there is that feeling that you did something wrong. Every time you are suffering the remorse, on the outside, you look okay. But the inside, something is hitting you. Something is bothering you. And that is you find because of that remorse, you find these young boys, they committing suicide every other day. Yeah. Sometimes you do not know that they are committing suicide. Just people get the smell, the foul smell from their houses. When you open, they committed suicide. And then you find a lot of drugs there. It is because of this thing of wanting to get rich quickly, wanting to embrace very quickly, wanting to be big very quickly. Yeah? And of course, and especially during these times, to whom do you want to show off? If you buy a big car, there are so many cars on the road, it is not even noticeable. When you go into a plane going to Europe, the plane is already full. So you are not alone there. You go to Mombasa during Christmas, the beach is full of people. If you go to Hilton, it is full of people. So just live your life quietly. Just take your space. I have seen people, they want to be like God. You find somebody has got a glass of whiskey in Hilton. He has got another glass of whiskey in Serena. He has got another glass of whiskey. So you see, he has 3 sips here. Then he exudes himself, 3 sips there. So he wants to be God. So young people have got a problem. I'm saying so because I'm a father. Yeah, I'm an uncle. I'm a brother. I see it all the time. Yeah. If she could look after her children as a single mother, even if it was momentary, as a single mother, from 1952, 53, 54, 55, 56, for over 12 years as a single mother, given very few hours to go to the farm, because the rest were doing communal work, which was a kind of punishment by the colonial government. Then she gave me a lot of courage. She showed me that it is possible to attain your objective, even under difficult circumstances. It is a commitment. It is a will to survive. It is a faith in God. She created an impact, positive impact on my life. And that is why I became a fighter. Yes. There is no way you are going to fail me without a struggle. Yeah, there will be resistance. She was happy with me. Yeah, but I regret that I did not pay back appropriately. I built her a good house, used to buy good clothes, but I think I should have done it better than that. But these are things you realize when you lose your mother. Yes, when they are alive, we take them for granted. But now I'm wiser, but it is too late.
What do you think, or what do you feel you should have done more?
You see, I remember one time we went to Israel, and I brought her some water from Jordan. And she thought I was blasphemous because she died thinking that Jordan is in heaven. So, but I was too busy with the President Daniel Arab Moi. We were too busy. But I regret that I should have arranged a trip for her to go to Jordan, to Israel. Because when I told her that I had been to Jerusalem and to Bethlehem and to Capernaum, she thought I was blasphemous. She almost threw me out of our house here. She thought those places are in heaven. So I regret, that is my biggest regret, but it's too late. I should have taken her to Israel. Just if you have gone to school, just go and sit down with your mother. Just look at her, that you are in her womb for 9 months. And that when you were born, you never knew the world. She taught you how to suck. She did your hygiene. She taught you how to speak. She took care of you when you are vulnerable. She put you on her chest, and you got that motherly warmth, which is priceless. And when you were young, she looked at you with pride. And quietly, she prayed to God to protect you as you grew up. And she was watching every step. Sometimes she shed tears when praying for you. Those are not things you read, but the things you feel. Just go and look at your mother. You know, I have heard people tell their mothers that tell me the number of gallons of the milk I sucked from you so that I can pay you with the current Kenya Creameries cooperative rates. Then, do you think that your mother's milk has a price in monetary terms? What about the feeling of love? Is it quantifiable in monetary terms? What about the warmth of her chest? Those are not things you read. You can sit with your mother, look at her, and just try to internalize the journey from the day you were born to the day you left the homestead and you went to Nairobi and wherever. And then you think you are a big person. Look at the role your mother played when you were vulnerable. So when you know that one, you know who your mother is and how she impacted your growth and your well-being. And I tell young people, whatever you do, don't make your mother cry. Don't make your mother's honor in society be diminished. I did so because I wanted to put the record straight. That although people said that Kenyatta was surrounded by Kikuyus, I wanted to debunk that myth. That it was not in all sectors. Because the presidential president, you realize there were so many people who are not Kikuyus, like in the press team. So I had to tell people that although Kenyatta was considered to be a tribalist, it was not entirely so. That's why I was trying to tell the people that, look, you had a photographer, a lawyer called Matthias Agare. You got another photographer called Johnny Lubia, who was not a Kikuyu. You had a cameraman, television cameraman, called Musa Sakwa, who was not a Kikuyu. You had a Luo called Emmanuel Okoth. So because if I do not say so, people would think that everybody in the State House was a Kikuyu, which was not so. I want to talk of people like who are Kenyatta's darlings, like this Chief Inspector, Kimal El Arab Karim. So to tell people that Kenyatta was not surrounded by Kikuyus, he could have been surrounded by Kikuyus in the higher echelons, like the permanent secretaries and ministers and such like. But there were people who are not Kikuyus. Yeah. So that you do not blame him wholesale. Yes. Yes. So you see, even now, look at the politics now. There's somebody who is saying, why are there two tribes in government? But he is not asking, he is not saying they are not meritorious. There's no meritocracy. He's asking, why are there no other tribes? Even up to, as I am talking to you, that is the clamor now. Yeah. Yeah. Even if people are going for mass action, asking, why are we not in government? Why only two tribes? So you see, tribalism is something you cannot run away from, Kenya. You cannot run away from it. Could be in another 1,000 years, but not now. And I can tell you this. If you find a black man, let's say in a social place, let's say in a bar, in a club, and you ask him, what is your name? And he says, my name is Johnny Michael. You will not be satisfied. You have to ask him, and where do you come from? Say, from Nairobi. You will not be satisfied. Because what we are looking for, you want him to betray his tribe. And then he says, and where were you born? In Nairobi. You are not satisfied. Where was your father born? In Kitui. Now you start becoming happier because now you are getting closer to the point. What was the name of your great grandfather? Kelonso. You know, now you say, oh, he is Kamba. Because inherently, or up to now, we are tribal. We have not shared of that tag. We have not shared of that mentality up to now. It's very unfortunate. Yeah. And you see, the people who are saying our tribe is not there. Previously, they were saying, provided there is a merit in it. But now they're not talking about the merit. They're talking about where's our tribe.
Now,
We have not reached that philosophy of the great Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping, who said that I don't care what the color of the cat is, provided they can catch mice. Now here the cat must belong to my tribe. Yes, as long as it lasts, it's very painful. Very, very painful indeed. You feel crushed. You feel insulted. But once you are through it, you realize that it has handled you. You say it is better to handle it, yeah, so that you know now how to deal with the people. Like wherever I go now, that's my personal commitment. I do not view people through a tribal prism. Now I look at life from a different window because of the experiences I go through. I embrace everybody. I am not tribal. Could be because in my working life, I do not remember sharing the same office with my tribesmen. When I was working for Jomo Kenyatta, I was the only Moembo in the press. When I was working for Kenyan News Agency of Angano Street, I was the only Moembo in that office. working for President Moi, presidential press, there were two Embu people whom I recruited because of their professionalism. But because of the tribalism, they were maligned, they were thrown out of the presidential press like dogs. So I was left alone. So because of those experiences, I know how painful it is to be discriminated on account of the tribe in Kenya. And it is more painful when you realize that you are being persecuted by somebody who has gone to school, somebody wearing an expensive suit, somebody driving a beautiful car, somebody who is entrusted by the Kenyan government to look after people. But then he chooses to be tribal, to be insolent, to be abusive. I will not want anybody to be my victim. No. If I correct somebody, it's because he has made a mistake. And I try to correct him in a very, very humane manner, like a father. I have suffered a lot. But then again, it has taught me a lot in equal measure. When you are a press officer to a president, the head of state, you are not only a reporter, you are also a public relations officer. That means you do not always write what he says. And I give a few examples. If the president, let's say, currently as I speak to you, the president is Dr. William Samoei Ruto. If he's going to Embu and he passes through Mangu High School during the national examinations, it is okay for him to tell the Mangu Form 4 candidates that he wishes them well in the examinations. But then it will be very unwise for his press officer to send a story to the press that the president today wished Mangu students success in the national examinations. That would be very, very unwise of him. It's not prudent. Because you do not expect Dr. William Ruto to go to Kangaroo School and wish them well, and fly all the way to Shimolatewa to wish them success. Then fly again to Kakamega High School, to Chesamisi boys, to Maral, to Mandera, to Garissa boys. Why don't you take that opportunity and say, speaking from Mangu High School, the president wished all the candidates in Kenya success in the national examinations. Now you have done public relations for him. And for example, taking the same route, and he passes through Utalii College. To please them and to raise their morale and to give them some importance, he tells them, I want you to work very hard because this is the best college in the world. It isn't. It is built with a small grant from Switzerland. So you cannot say that the president said that Utalii College is the best in the world. His wisdom will be questioned even by the international community, even by the people of Kenya. What he meant is that it is an important institution in the tourism industry. You just write that. Because now you are not only, because if you write exactly what he says, then you destroy him. Because sometimes he says things which are localized. But then you cannot give them an international dimension because they will look ugly when you give them international dimension. It cannot go to a place, let's say like Kikuyu, like Kiambu. I tell them, you Kikuyus, you have a problem which should be dealt with. Most of you are criminals. That is not what he means. He said there are few elements who are spoiling the Kikuyu name. Yeah, because you see, you cannot insult a community. You cannot malign a community. So you cannot continue saying, and you see that is the problem, that's the problem we have now because of social media. Even when the press talks something, we should be localized. Because it's no time to end it. Because it is real time. Every cameraman from whatever organization, legal, illegal, trained, untrained, then some of them, actually, I don't want to use bad words. Journalism, which is gutter press. During our time, whatever came from the president's mouth, it had to be properly edited and project what is proper for a head of state. But now, it does not happen. So, a president should have a person, a reporter, and this is also good in politics, so that whatever he says is not seen to offend the sensibility of communities, so that whatever he says reflects his dignity and his wisdom and something that is acceptable both locally and internationally. And that is where you find a certain politician says something, everybody is up in arms. Because it was allowed to be consumed by the entire public. It was not properly edited. You see, there are what we call uncomfortable truths. If you talk about them, they are bad. Like now, if I tell you that you sleep with your wife, you can kill me. But it is true. If somebody says the government is like a company, yeah, a political party is like a company. But don't say so. Yeah, keep quiet. When you say so now, you have there will be repercussions. Yeah, you'll be fought. But if you keep quiet, everybody knows it is so. Even the person who is fighting you, he is doing it in his own political party. Yeah, it is evident. He treats it like his own company. But don't say so. Yeah, you may say something which is true, absolutely true, but it should not be spoken. Like one time, Moi told me, Lee, yes, sir. Don't you think I know the names of all the parts of the body? I don't know, of course, you know. But my station in life does not allow me to mention them. Yeah. So there are some things which should not be mentioned, but we know they are there, and we know how they function. Yeah. All right? I remember one time we were at Kabarak, and there was a meeting. And during that meeting, Mzee Moi lambasted a certain neighboring country for its lack of focus, lack of proper intelligence network, and for a shoddy job, because there was mass suicide by members of a certain religious cult. Mzee Moi was addressing a delegation from a certain district. And you know, because the president was going to Kericho, I told one of my chief information officers to write that story and send it to Broadcasting House. But I had an office in Broadcasting House, people who used to process Muse's information. But at 12:30, you know, I had a gut feeling that things might not be proper. So I telephoned one of the officers in the Broadcasting House. Can you read me the story which was sent by that information officer? I don't want to name him, he is still alive. And then the intro was, President Moi has lambasted President so-and-so and his country for lack of focus, arising, you know. I said, oh, kill the story immediately. And then when we reach to now, I had to read the proper fashion. If that one was read, our ambassador in that country, our high commissioner, would have been summoned and would have been expelled. And would have been a letter of protest in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yeah, I've had such near misses. Because you see now, there are some things which are said which are not for consumption, which are not for international consumption, which are not for broadcasting. For example, even the president might, I remember Jomo Kenyatta one time telling me that Nyerere was like a snail, he was moving slowly. But that is not for broadcasting. He insulted him when going for a border meeting in Lunga Lunga. But you see now, it is because I was his public relations officer. But you see, if there was members of the social media and this Nkata press, there could have been a problem with the Tanzania. Yeah. So that is the problem we have now. Now the presidents now and other politicians, they have to be properly guarded. Because you see, the systems of communication, they are overcrowded, you know, by professionals, charlatans, and yeah, and the people who have no idea what the press is all about. I was the director of photography. Because photography tells a story. And I used to do a lot of editing. Because you see, like when a president is talking, and then there's a fly moving across his face, and then it does like this. You cannot show that one because it means he is thinking. Okay? And when he is coughing, you remove it. Because it means sick. You don't want to have people to have a concern. that there is a sick president. And then you would like him to have a photograph of where he's holding a child. Because a child is a representation of the future generation. So I did a lot of photography. And I am a photographer myself. Because I learned how to take photographs, the darkroom technology to process them. By that time, you used to have bromide papers to develop, to stop, to dry, to print, to cut. I learned everything about photography. So don't you ever think that I'm only a writer. I'm also a photographer, and I'm an editor. And I know how photography tells stories. Yeah. So that is why when people see me, they want to impress me with the photography doing like this. Hiyo ni machachari ambayo haina maana. Try to impress me. You cannot impress me. I did it as a subject. Yeah. Because I see some photographers, they want to impress women. And the way they bring acrobatics. When you find people like Mohammed Amin, Mohinda Thilon, you don't see those acrobatics. And they get very good pictures. But then you find our young boys here. They won't even to do it somersaulting and standing on their hands. I insult them. Because they are trying to impress people. That is not your business. Taking good photographs. Mm.
So what video editing software were you using at that time?
Mm-hmm. Well, I had editors. But you know, I supposed to say, cut this one, because I knew the message it would send across. Yes. Okay. Yeah, and of course, you know, when we are taking photographs, those days, if it is public rally, we are about 3 cameras. One, to remain permanently on the subject. Okay? Another one for the crowd. Because the president, the one for the crowd, when he's talking, when you go to mix, to the mixer, you show him talking and the people clapping. Because that is politics. And of course, when there's a crowd and there is a gap, you do not have to shoot overhead. You must shoot across so that the gap is not betrayed, so that you create an impression of a continuous crowd. Okay? And then there was a third camera, which is called a roofing camera. That one was for cutaways. When Mzee says, na watoto wetu wa shule, there's another one to take the children. So when Mzee talks about our children, you see children. Now what ya bwani kule, we can develop Minasi. I've got a person in Mombasa, I told them, get a shot of Minasi and bring it. So we used to mix so that when he speaks, there's a visual, depiction of what he say. Yeah. Tusema na ng'ombe za maziwa, unaona mtu aikamua ng'ombe. We used to do a lot of work here, and that was my own productions. Yeah. I used to do yaliyotokea. Yeah. I used to go to Nairobi, wherever I was, to make sure it is proper. Yeah. And it was very popular. It was to educate people. Because now you see a politician talking, and then before you finish the sentence, you make cut. So now, what has he told the people? These days, you do not allow a politician to expound on his view on anything. Yeah. And then you find him greeting, how are you people? And then you cut. And he was singing Mandela. But have you heard what he told the people of Mandela? It's useless. We do not want to see a politician in Mandela. Let us hear him telling them something beneficial. And what he tells them, let it also be beneficial to people in Kakuma, in Turkana, in Kwale. Because that is not the only dry area. If he is in Mandera, what he says there, he backs the people in Turkana, the people in Marsabit. Okay? Even the people in Karamojong, they might see it. But now nobody is letting them explain themselves. It's rushed. Even if there is no time, just pick one gem. Like Moi would say, let's say something like this. Siasa ni maisha. Siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. Siasa mzuri, maisha mzuri. If you have no time, now speak a gem. Something that people will take home. Now you find a politician talking in a public rally. After that one, nobody will ever remember what he said. It is not his problem. It is a problem of the press. Because you look for what is newsworthy, what is beneficial to society. Yeah. Like now, John Kennedy, the late president of the United States of America, what is remembered about him? Because they captured one line. Do not ask yourself what America has done for you. Ask yourself what you have done for America. Yeah. But in Kenya now, tell me any politician ambaye anasema kitu ambayo itaiko kwa vitabu and to help future generations. Sometimes they say very good things, but the press, do they know? That question cannot be answered because there were different functions. Are you talking about covering a meeting in Hilton? A meeting in New York? Receiving credentials? Those are all functions. But they are different in terms of approach. Others require heavy equipment, others light equipment, others you need suits, others you don't need. So let me pick one, for example. The president will tell me, Lee, let's say on a Saturday. Yes, sir. Coming Tuesday, 10, I'll address a meeting in Isiolo. Yes, sir. And then 3 p.m., I'll address a meeting in Moyale. Yes, sir. Then from there, I'll fly and sleep in Mandera. Yes, sir. Then the following morning, Wednesday, I'll address a meeting at 10 in Mandera. At 3, a meeting in Wajir. Yes, sir. Go and sleep in Garissa. Yes, sir. And then the following day, Friday, a meeting in Garissa. Yes, sir. After lunch, I'll fly back to Nakuru. Now, that is close to 30 million shillings. It's finished. Because what will happen now, I'll move public and rail system in Isiolo. Okay? And then another set of public and rail system in Moyale. So that on Tuesday, he addresses a public rally in Isiolo, lunch, and then when he flies to Moyale, there's another team there. And when he leaves Isiolo, the team which is in Isiolo, it is flown across to Mandera. And then now, when he leaves Moyale, when it's Moyale, it's flown. So you see, I have to arrange for planes. That is Air Force. Now, together with the ADC now, we have to agree how many planes to get from the Air Force. Buffaloes and caribou. And then it will involve also the police, the presidential escort. We must take people to Isiolo, others there, you see. Again, the police band, the chiefs, even moving the beds to Mandera, to Garissa, to Mandera. And then we have to organize how to ferry the material by plane to Nairobi. And when you ferry the material there, you have to talk to the police in order to place at your disposal motorcycles at Wilson Airport. Because the material might arrive at 5 in the evening. Okay? Because it is not real time, they have to be processed and edited. And at 5, the traffic is very heavy, the traffic jam. So you have to have a motorcycle to maneuver through traffic. So it's a lot of work. That's one type. You see, now, there's another simple one. Ambassadors are coming to present their credentials. It's a state house, we are there. So just a camera on the carpet. Yeah. And Voice of Kenya, KBC, is just there. Just take the material there. So you see, it depends on the magnitude and the locality. And you see, it involves a lot of money. Logistics. Okay? It's a logistical nightmare most of the times here. And you see, you find there now, in Mandera there might not be electricity. So we have to vary generators and fuel for the generators. Okay? And the batteries. And another one, let's say, could be, let's say, like 1985, for example, just an example. You go to Canada, Vancouver, for the conference. I have to go in advance there to Canada because I want to go there and check the system of their television system, whether it is spelled like us, whether it is SECAM, whether it is NTSC. And when I'm there now, because here we are PAL, I want to go and check. When I check their system, I have also to deal with the LIPA issues. If we hire a camera of NTSC, an NTSC system camera, will they allow us to use it? But then you realize you hire a camera and a cameraman and the operator. How much is he paid? So I have to come and look for the money. And then I have to go and see exactly where Musa will address people. So the system of electricity. So that our lighting systems now, I buy adapters. Okay? And then where he address the people, say address Kenyans, after addressing the conference meeting, there are Kenyans there. When he addresses them, how far is the television station and the radio station? When will he finish? How do I hire a motorcycle to move through? How much is it? And when we end it there, do we end it ourselves or do they end it for us? And then I have to know the time differential so that I do not pump the material to KBC when it is 3 a.m. Yeah. So all those. Now when I finish all that now, and we have to know the people I'm with, we have to know about the food there and whether the flowers are in season because of its rose flower. And the food, whether you allow our chefs to join them in the hotel so that to make sure the food is properly cooked, the proper oil, salt, and this kind of thing. So I have to come back to Nairobi and present my report. And then I'm given the money to go and buy most of those things, adapters, to pay the cameraman and whatever. So now I have to go back. Okay? And then we create a working office in the hotel. Okay? And then I have to come back again so that I join the entourage. Yeah. There's a lot of work. So when you see the press speak on television, it's like going for a wedding. And you go and sit down to eat, but you do not know the preparations. Yeah, yeah. The tents, the food, peeling the potatoes, the rice, water, firewood. Yeah, you just go and see it. Yeah, when you see something happen in television, a lot of work has gone into it.
When you're in production and this work, it comes with travel, which is very exciting. And together with that, we're always getting an out-of-pocket allowance. I was once working in Kakuma, and I saw a Pro Box written in the back window, big letters, DSA. So when I asked the driver who we were with, he told me, that car is very famous because it belongs to a driver of an aid organization who was sent on a mission, and he got a lot of out-of-pocket allowance. He was able to buy this car, and in memorial he called it DSA, after the daily sustenance allowance that you get. And I'm wondering, which are some of your most memorable missions that you got some good out-of-pocket allowance, and what did you do with the out-of-pocket allowance?
1981, I went for an advance party to New York during the 34th United Nations General Assembly. And I'd gone there to take letters of credence to the then Secretary General of the UN, Dr. Kurt Waldheim from Austria. Julia Ujambo was the leader of Kenya's delegation to the assembly, but then she had forgotten her letters of credence. So they were signed. By that time, there was no email system. So I telephoned Mo. He told me, just stay there, I'll find you there. So he came, stayed in New York for some time to the conference, onward to Washington, onward to Los Angeles. Then from there, we went to Hawaii. From Hawaii, we slept there. Went to Sydney. Went to Melbourne. Went to Canberra. We came to Kuala Lumpur. Came to Jakarta. Came to New Delhi. To Karachi. So I was away for a month. I do not tell you how much money I got, but I got hundreds of thousands. By that time, it was in terms of millions. And I bought a plot in Lavington, 1/8 of an acre. And I built a villa where I stay up to now. Over 20 passports.
Have over 20 passports.
Yes.
How many countries have you been to, and which have been your most memorable?
Over 90. Over 90. You see, that's the mentality of an African, but my own view, I remember 1979, I went to Rwanda. And forget about the ethnic violence. When I went to Rwanda in 1979, the first time, I was booked in a hotel called Milos Collins, 1,000 euros. But then the people I was with, the Rwandese people, I remember I had one from Foreign Affairs called Christophe Rwakayinza, and another broadcaster called Nestoré Serushago, and another called John Nepo. They told me, why are you staying in a hotel? I said, it has been paid for. They said, no matter, let's go home. So we would go to their home there. Then there was this a beer called Primus. And then there was mishikaki, bananas and meat. bananas and meat. And you see the simplicity of rural life. And you know they love for you. It's not about humongous banquets. But you see, the feeling of love, the human touch, the human spirit. And then they give me, the following morning they were giving me bananas and chicken to take to my mother. I told them I'm going by plane. They don't understand. But then Christopher or Akayiza would tell me, take it. Told them we are taking to your mother. We shall eat in Kigali town. You see, and also Swaziland. These African countries like Germany, what is there? Just many Europeans and many buildings. But they do not treat you like an equal. Some of the countries I've enjoyed the most are African countries. Yeah, because besides buildings, besides the big cities, the lights and whatever, I do not like those things. I like relationship with the people. Employment is transient. Political power, power of your office where you are employed, I like to refer to that as borrowed strength. Your farm, your hotel, your personal office, that is your personal strength. If you are a minister, that is borrowed strength. If you are a president, that is borrowed strength. If you are chief personnel officer, that is borrowed strength. Remember, in the fullness of time, you are going home. Like someone like Uhuru now, he cannot go to State House unless he has got an appointment. And he was a boss for 10 years. Kibaki's childhood cannot go to State without an appointment. And it was their home. It was their home. It was their playing ground. I had an office in the State House for 26 years. 1.5 years during Kenyatta time, first floor, a big office. During Moi's time, 24 years, 4 months, a big office with 2 secretaries. Until I almost thought it was my home. I could call anybody, you see, and they immediately pick my telephone call. Now people they cannot answer my call now. But I had realized a long time ago that it is transient. Now this, whatever I have here, whatever little I have, it is mine. Now this is what is permanent. That one is transient. And that is what people should remember. That is borrowed strength. It is not yours. Yeah. And when the day you retire, you'll be given a driver, if you are a mid-located person, to drop you home. When he drops you, he can even insult you. Hata nakwambia, remove your luggage quickly, I'm busy, I want to go elsewhere. Because now you are nobody. When you are enjoying borrowed strength, build your own strength in your rural area or in town, in your own home, your own business. That is what is permanent. You enjoy that one together with your children. And you know, that one is in the office is so deceptive. It's so deceptive. You saw one cabinet minister. I wasn't behaving. but what happened? But again, people who have got PhDs, got Dr. so and so, Professor so and so, it is one simple thing, but they don't realize. I don't know what hoodwinks them. They don't see. And it is something very easy. Yeah. It is not your strength, it is borrowed. But you see professors, many professors don't see it. Some of them are called Dr. So and so. Some of them given big titles, a motorcade, people with the guns. And they think they are special. Let the day come when they are told time is over. They start having a depression and drinking themselves to death. It is very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Just remember it's borrowed strength and it is momentary. It will come to end in the fullness of time and you go back to the rural areas, to society. Make peace with the members of the society. It does not mean that you give them their property. Talk to them nicely. Nobody wants your property. Yeah, greet them.
Did you ever, were you able to attend like important functions for your children or for family members?
Luckily, my children, some of my children went to school in America. Whenever I went to America, I would call them in my hotel. We eat, we laugh, yeah. But I did not have time to attend their graduations. No. But I talked to them and I told them why. Yeah. And I told them, let them know that to break out of the grip of poverty, something you must give. You must sacrifice something. When you tell them that one, they understand. Our father is not in my graduation because he is busy trying to make us break out of poverty. Tell them, do you understand? It is very good. Technology is the best thing that has ever happened. And it is still evolving. We might think that we have reached the ultimate. It is still evolving. You cannot resist the technology, but it depends on how we handle it. Because unless we are careful, it might work to our disadvantage. Yes. It's like when you go to swim, you are told don't fear water, understand it. Okay? Don't fear fire, manage it. Everything requires proper management. Yeah, fire is bad. It depends on how you manage it. Water is good. It depends on how you manage it and understand it. Understand technology. Let us make it work for us, not make it to work against us. Yes, it's like the mobile telephone. It can work against us. It can be used by criminals to track you. Yeah, they can even talk about your possession. They can track you. It can be very destructive. The onus is on us. Yeah, it is upon us to use it to work for us, not work against us. I have nothing against technology. Yeah, because without technology, then everything will move very slowly. Yeah.
Now that you've mentioned about mobile telephony, are you on any social media platforms, or what social media platforms are you using?
That is personal.
Are you on TikTok? Are you on Instagram? Are you? You don't need to mention your handle, but you can say that you're maybe.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you on LinkedIn, for example?
No.
Instagram?
No.
Okay.
You see, I do not want to overcrowd my brain with rubbish. Yeah. Sometimes there's excessive information syndrome, which will even prevent you from doing your own work. Yeah. I've seen the people who are very tired in the morning. It's because they were watching films and all those things up to 3 a.m. You find people very tired in the morning because they sleep at 3 a.m. Yeah.
Are you following any series now that you've mentioned?
No, I sleep at
TV. Are you?
No, like now, like I do not have a television set in my bedroom. No, and I don't even have a radio. Yeah, because I used to wake up tired, watching films up to 4 a.m. Yeah, and they had no strength to do anything constructive because the people who are on television, they are paying for it. Nobody pays me to watch.
So, what's keeping you busy nowadays?
I run a small kiosk here, as you have seen. It's what keeps me busy. Yes. I have got staff of 25 people. Yeah, I'm always on people telephone. They want a kilo of meat, 2 chicken. People want to come and sleep. Sometimes I worry when I have no customers. I start worrying, how will I pay for my workers? So I'm busy. Sometimes receiving guests, sometimes staying with them until 1 a.m. Yeah. So when I have my lunch, I go and sleep. I wake up at about 5 p.m. When people start coming in the evening to have a drink and to enjoy themselves, I'm with them. We talk until about 1 a.m. or sometimes latest 10. Then I go and sleep. So I'm always busy. Yeah. Sometimes you have customers, many. Sometimes you have few. Sometimes you don't have. But that is part of life. Sometimes you get, sometimes you miss. That's the beauty of life. It's interesting.
Are you bonding now with your grown children or grandchildren? How is that?
Yes, we talk always in Nairobi. Yeah. In Nairobi, we talk. We are great friends, yeah. Mm-hmm. But you see, we are different people. They were born in the city. I was born in the rural areas. When I come here, it's like a homecoming. Yeah, because I was born, I can survive in the rural areas. When I am here, I do not even need a supermarket. I go to the bush, I get vegetables. Yeah. When my children come here, when they look at the bush, they do not know that it is full of food. They only think that food comes from a supermarket. But here I can survive. They don't know which vegetables to eat in the bush. When I see trees like this one, if I want to boil a chicken, like the tree above you here, I can pick it and boil. That is very nice soup. This moiri. They don't know about that one.
What stories are you telling your grandkids when you talk? I don't know, how old are they and what are you talking about with your grandchildren?
You see, they have never heard of somebody called Jomo Kenyatta. If you tell them about Kamuithi Munyi, they have never heard of him. They have never heard of Oloi Tip Tip. They have never heard of Oginga Ondinga. Those are different people altogether. But what I try to teach them, my children, those ones is about morality. But then but now there are evil forces which are against morality. Because they say you do not eat morality. They say you eat money. And now the approach is Machiavellian. That you have to take what you need to take at all means. Yeah. You see, like now, you see a very religious person coming to bring your child to me, coming to bring their children to me. Please help them to get to the police. Why? God might favor them so that they are taken by the traffic. What is the connotation? This is a religious person, and he wants the child to go to the police with the hope that that child might go to the traffic. What does that mean? So, everywhere, morality means nothing now. Yeah. It's Machiavellian. The end justifies the means. It does not matter how you get money, provided you get it here. Yeah. And that's where you find all these dirty things, immoral things are happening. I don't want to mention some of them because they are revolting. It's repulsive. But that's the nature we have, because our children have been taught that you do not eat morality. What you need is ma. Doesn't matter how you get it. And that's why we have lost it. You remember initially when we began this program, I talked about the dignity of labor. It's rare these days. You find when people are exchanging jobs, they say one officer is working in Mandera, another is working in Kwale. When they're exchanging, you say, what do you eat here? What do you eat here? Not how you work. Hapa mnakulaka nini hapa? When they say eating, you know what eating means. Yeah. Let me tell you. No fear. I am very well prepared even for death, even as we talk now. Of course, when I see it coming, I'll run away. I don't want to die. But then, I'm not overly concerned. I'm not overly fearful. But when I see it, I don't want to die. But I know it is coming. In another 20, I'm now 73. In another 25 years, I'll be doing my 90s. In the fullness of time is coming, it's nearer. You see, when I look at somebody like Moi, I like talking about him because I worked for him for 42 years. He was one of the most energetic presidents. In contrast, because he came after Kenyatta, who was oldish. You see the way he was climbing onto aeroplanes, running, energetic, doing gabions, raising boulders, big stones. See the way he was walking, reviewing the guards of honor. And then here you see him in a wheelchair. You see him in a hospital bed with a drip. He cannot speak, on oxygen. You see him in a hospital with the General Mulinge, wearing hospital uniform, blue, no pockets. Nurses are touching them everywhere, helpless. And then you realize 20 years earlier, him and General Mulinge, they could have divided Kenya into two between them. Take a half, I take a half. And then you realize how frail life can be, how deceptive. And if you look at my book, I was trying to debunk a myth. I'm telling you people, do not be taken in. Don't be deceived by the splendor, by the majesty of the walls of State House. Behind that facade, beside that seeming splendor, that apparent splendor, there is a lot of rot, a lot of skullduggery, a lot of intrigue, backstabbing, witchcraft, fear, apprehension, anxiety in it. You see, when I was joining the civil service, we were very fearful people, as I have written in my book, because the mention of people like Kanyotu, Director of Intelligence, the mention of people like Ignatius, Director of CID, the mention of people like Joginda Singh Isoki, the CID boss in Nairobi, the mention of Bioko Inange, Geoffrey Kadiri, the head of civil service, they used to shed shivers down our spines. But they are gone. They are gone. They are mortal. People could not believe that Jomo Kenyatta could die. He is no longer with us. You see, as a young boy, I joined the corridors of power. Kenyatta was my friend. I was his officer and his friend. We used to talk. Moi was a personal friend. I was his worker. But then we developed on board for 42 years. I saw him from the time he was energetic. I saw him strength, physical and mental winning until the time he died. General Mulinge was my friend. The way they used to review guard of honor. Where the military meant Mulinge, and Mulinge meant the military. And then you find it in my hospital bed. Until he is anything in me, telling me, Lee, you are better than me. You can walk, I can't. And now he wants consolation from me, a young boy. I have seen people in the State House who are untouchable. In 10 years, they are out of the office. They telephone me to book an appointment for them to see the President Moi. And 10 years earlier, if you told them this Lee Njiru young boy here will book an appointment for you, they could have killed you. They say, who? This idiot from Embu. Small boy. Nonsense from Embu. I'm so and so. I come from the present tribe. Means so and so is my tribesman. So and so is my tribesman. We are here. We are immortal. We are immovable. Like the rock of ages. But then with the time, they fade away. That is life. So when you understand that one, you must become humble. You have to be humble. Otherwise, you'll be taught by life the hard way. That is why I believe in the power of humility. Don't insult anybody. When somebody asks you for money, don't insult him. Tell him you don't have. Don't run away from people. Tell them the truth. If you hear somebody is at the door, if you're not a criminal, welcome them. Give tea if you can afford. Let them ask you for money. At the end, tell them you don't have. Yeah. You don't keep money for them. If you've got money to spare, give them what you can afford to lose.